When did you actually go into the Army?
I came in the Army. I joined the Army at Boston Army Base on November 29th, 1959. I was 17 years and 2 months old.
1959.
Yes, sir.
And when did you arrive for Army service in Southeast Asia?
The first time I hit Southeast Asia was there. It was about November of 1968.
And did you first go to Vietnam or did you go to
I
Thailand or Laos?
I went to Thailand, was assigned to Deputy Chief Joint Uniform Services Military Advisory Group, which is synonymous with assignments for Laos. We were in a TDY status for 6 months. You go into the country for 6 months, you come out for maybe a week or so, then you go back in for uh, uh, the next 6 months, which gives you a year tour. It was not considered a permanent change of station move. It was a TDY, temporary duty.
Temporary duty. I'm assuming all of this work you did in Laos at the time was secret.
Yes, sir. I had dual titles. I was an assistant military attaché for the defense attaché, Colonel Duskin, under Ambassador Sullivan, and my other duty was the senior enlisted artillery advisor for uh, the Royal Kingdom of Laos, and additional duty, military region 2 for the forces army neutralist in Mung Sui.
So when you're in Laos, then you're serving primarily with Laotian forces.
Yes.
And just explain generally what's going on in Laos, because most Americans, including me, even those of us who have a fairly good knowledge of what's going on in Vietnam, I think to a lot of us still, what's going on in Laos is much less known and is a bit of a mystery. What is going on in Laos? What are you part of when you're there?
What was going on is 10% of Laos at that time was the Royal Kingdom of Laos, Palatsana Jak Lao. Another 20% of it was neutralists. Um, and then the other remaining percentage was contested, severely contested, and it was called Neo Lao Haksat, or the police People's Lao Army, reinforced by the North Vietnamese forces.
So you've got communist forces, anti-communist forces, and then the neutralists in the middle who don't.
Yes, indeed, and that's who I was stuck with. Yuck. The commander of military region at that time was Colonel Kamwang Singh, and he had the battalions of volunteers, 105 millimeter howitzer batteries, and the 155 howitzers, and all of us that belonged to the Thais and myself. The Thais were designated as special regiments, and they rotated once a year. So you had Special Regiment 7, and then after I was getting ready to leave, they were turning into Special Regiment 8. There were rumors that they were mercenaries, but they belonged to the first Thai Special Forces out of Lopburi, who are advised and mentored by Colonel Louis Millette, a big handlebar, mustache wearing guy, Medal of Honor winner.
So you're working with Laotian forces and Thai forces?
Yes, sir.
And the Thai forces are in Laos?
Yeah, the 400 got killed with Thais. They were not Lao. Those were Thai troops.
So I want to come back and talk about that. Now, these anti-communist forces and these neutralist forces, did they fight together against the communist forces?
The royalists, uh, in in speaking, supported the neutralists, but they didn't trust them.
Goodness. So it sounds like in Laos, it sounds like we're talking about something that's even more complicated than what's going on in Vietnam. Is that right?
Exactly.
Right. So you're with the neutralists, you're
Yep.
also with the royalists.
Yep.
They have a common enemy in the communists,
Yep.
but they're not necessarily on the same team.
Nope.
And then you've got Thai there, who I guess their primary interest is for the communists not to spill into Thailand.
Well, that's part of it. But I guess they formed a sort of a friendly relationship with the Royal Lao government.
Hmm.
Uh, there is another there is another factor, which are called the Hmong. Now they call themselves Hmongs. Back then they were male, but I guess the Hmong got butthurt or whatever, so they decided to call themselves Hmong, like the upper hill tribes in Vietnam.
Hmm.
Uh, so we let them go do what they do. But their commander was General Vang Pao, and I know you probably heard about him.
Mhm. So
But
the Thai sided with the royalists, I'm guessing because Thailand had a king of its own.
yeah,
So there's that interest there. Now, so in Vietnam, as complicated and messy as that struggle was, the mission is pretty straightforward. We want to preserve South Vietnam, help South Vietnam stand up on its own, and eventually get to a government that, will be somewhat functional. That's the goal. What's
yeah.
the goal? It sounds like it's just so much more complicated in Laos. What's the goal
The goal is to preserve the Royal Kingdom of Laos
from communism?
from communism.
And so we'll do that first, and then we'll hope that the neutralists and the royalists can figure out how to get along afterwards.
No, well, they're all supposed to be in the same, singing off the same sheet of music. That's why I say it's sort of complicated. You have to watch your 1, 3, your 3, 6, 9, and 12.
Mhm.
Uh,
In other words, you're looking all around, yeah.
when I first got there, uh, I was tasked with uh, providing unit assessments for the neutralists. So I would go around to each one of the sites and all the rest of that, and do a silent body count up here, in my head. Each battalion was supposed to have 525 people. Duh, wrong answer. Some of them only had 125, some of them had 250, whatever, it's the whole 9 yards. I compiled a report, and I was getting ready to take it down to Vientiane, and my leader, Captain Bush, decided to get on the radio and transmit the information over single sideband, calling single sideband. At that time, Pop Buell, because he was the USAID man over there, he chimed in on the radio frequency and told Bush, you've already got a Bronze Star. If you're looking for some more awards, you're going about it in the wrong way. And
Wow.
Bush, he got a little bit irritated with it, and I told him, I said, it's supposed to travel safe hands instead of transmitting over the radio. Don't even bother trying to do the 2-letter encoding and all of this that and zipping it out. And he got real upset with that and said, "You're fired." And
Hmm.
he sent me back down. He sent me back down to Vientiane, and I was sitting in the CDC, the communication center, waiting further assignment, because he didn't send any kind of a justification outside. I can't get along with him. And Colonel Singh came down and said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, Captain Bush and I did not get along, so I guess I'm going to have to find some other place to go." I don't know what he's going to do for an artillery advisor because he was an artillery advisor. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, and Captain Colonel Singh said, "I'm going to talk to Colonel Duskin. In the meantime, go pack your bags. You're coming back up with us." And I said, "Well, what's happening?" They killed Captain Bush.
Who killed Captain Bush?
Well, they say that the Pathet Lao, about 22 of them snuck up and attacked the headquarters, and then came over to Carson and killed Captain Bush. My friend Danny Smokes told me these guys look awful familiar, and they look like somebody out of Battalion Volunteer 25 or whatever the case may be. So apparently, uh, naturally, they were monitoring the radio waves, and when they found out that Bush was given the body count for each one of the battalions, they took umbrage at that and they got rid of it.
So it was a fragging incident then.
An attack.
Yeah, yeah.
They sappered him. But the thing was, the reason that the report was so significant was that the United States government was subsidizing the salaries of the soldiers. Okay. So we had a whole bunch of ghost battalions, and Colonel Singh was drawing the money full pay for 525 members of a battalion when only had 129 or 125 or 200 in a unit. All that
Nice.
money was going into his pocket.
So when Captain Bush then sends the numbers over the radio, that's blowing his cover.
That's the provocation.
So so it just gets more complicated then. In addition to these different parties, and we've got this in South Vietnam too, in addition to these different parties with different interests, it sounds like you've got the basic problem of corruption as well.
Yeah. And see, the other thing is, even amongst the royalty, there was conflict as to who should be in charge. It's just a hodgepodge. The thing that us at odd end in Mong Sui was I had briefed Ambassador Sullivan and told him these guys are coming at us across the plain of jars. Okay, the
These
Mohawk,
are North Vietnamese or
North Vietnamese.
yeah.
The Mohawks took transparencies. They show up as little red spots and carrying on. And I said, these guys are coming, so we've got to prepare our defenses such as they are. And the only people that we have, in their pathway in Mong Sui were the neutralists, and there were about 3,500 of them. Uh, well, we've got to evacuate them. I said, if you evacuate those troops, we're going to get hit even harder. If you leave those troops there, it's a nasty way to do business. But if you leave those troops there and their families are with them, they'll fight. Ambassador Sullivan overrode Major Moberg's decision. Major Moberg was my team leader there. He overrode our recommendations, and they let the doggone folks get out of there. But we didn't know that they had left. In the evening of the attack, we tried to communicate with BV-25, and they were gone.
The neutralist forces were gone?
Yes.
And so the NVA were then able to
Yes.
do what?
3 North Vietnamese battalions of female DK-82 mortars mortared us for 3 days in a row.
Wow.
They played with us for 3 days.
So you experienced combat fighting alongside Laotian and Thai forces in Laos.
Yep.
And you're fighting primarily NVA, Pathet Lao, or both?
Both.
When you think about your combat experiences in Laos, and here we're in 68, 69, is that right?
Yes, sir.
what first comes to mind when I just say that to you, your combat experiences in Laos? What's the first memory you have that comes to your mind?
How to move 75 millimeter pack howitzers from one hill to another. We call it hill hopping.
So you're there as an advisor, helping the Laotian forces, advising the Laotian forces as they're firing these howitzers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, the nickname for us was cannon cockers. My main mission was to do the artillery coordination, run airstrikes. I was flight qualified with the bird dogs. Those are, the observer aircraft, but we had 2.75 rockets and smoke, HE rockets and smoke rockets, that kind of stuff to mark targets.
So would you have forward controllers and folks in the air give you coordinates and then you would hit those?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned a little while ago 400 Thai who
Yeah.
were lost in combat in Laos. What is that story?
That's the position. Mung Sui got hit, and 400 of them were across the road from the BB-25. Those are the people that I was staying with. Those are the ones that got mortared. Those are the ones that got killed. I got out of there with 39 folks.
And you started with how many?
We started out with 450.
And you got out with 39. Good grief.
Yes, good grief. Very upset with the ambassador for making that decision. And sometimes but he made another decision a few years before that, ignoring the advice of his advisors and his military personnel. And that's why they lost another site called Lima Site 85. He ignored their doggone counsel. And because he ignored their counsel, Lima Site 85 fell. There's no intricacies, pure ignorance. He did it, and it happened. He did it to me and Bob Moberg. The same thing. Don't do this, sir, because if you do, this is what's going to happen.
The NBA are gonna wipe out these Thai forces.
Yes, indeed.